Hello everyone! Welcome to my channel. My name is Emilio Carpio. I am both a licensed professional teacher and an internationally trained lawyer from the Philippines. Today, I'm sharing practical tips to help you pass the NCA Property Law Exam. It can be tough, but trust me, you've got this. Let's break down the exam based on the 2021 syllabus and cover what you really need to focus on. 1. Understand the core concepts of property law. The NCA exam isn't just about memorizing rules. It's about understanding the principles that govern property law. From the history of property to its categories, it's important to know what property is, how ownership works, and the policies behind the law. Start by diving into property, its history in various categories. Grasp the policies that guide the laws governing property. The NCA exam wants to test your understanding of why property law exists, not just the rules. 2. Focus on the concept of possession. The concept of possession is fundamental in property law. It's not enough to know who owns the land. Understanding how possession works is key. Review how possession relates to ownership and how it plays into land disputes. Possession often becomes the main issue in cases involving conflicting claims to property. Be prepared to apply possession doctrines to real-world scenarios. 3. Master common law estates. Common law estates are the backbone of property law. You'll need to understand freehold estates, leasehold estates, and the differences between them. Study the different estates in land, like fee simple, life estates, and leasehold estates. Know the rights attached to each type of estates and be able to apply them to hypothetical questions on the exam. 4. Understand Aboriginal property rights. Aboriginal property rights in land is a significant area of Canadian property law. The legal recognition of these rights is evolving, so make sure to understand their current status. Focus on land rights of Indigenous peoples, including how they've been recognized through case law and legislation. You need to know the balance between Aboriginal rights and Canadian property law. 5. Learn the origin and nature of equitable interests. Equitable interests are vital in property law. Know how equity impacts the law of property and the rights of equitable owners versus legal owners. Study the origin of equitable interests, like trusts and equitable interests in land. Understand how equity works alongside common law to offer fairness in property disputes. 6. Qualified transfers and future interests. Understanding qualified transfers and future interests is key to answering many questions on the exam. You'll need to know how interests in land can be transferred, but also the future implications of those transfers. Focus on the rules surrounding future interests, like reversion and remainder interests, and understand qualified interests like conditions on property transfers. Be sure you can explain how these work and how they relate to ownership over time. 7. Study leases and licenses. Leases and licenses are often tested, and understanding the difference between them is critical. Review tenant rights and landlord obligations under leases, and understand what licenses are and how they differ from leases in property law. Leases are a big topic for both theory and application in exam questions. 8. Master shared ownership. Property law isn't just about single ownership. Shared ownership is an essential topic that deals with how property can be owned by more than one person, whether it's joint tenancy, tenancy in common, or community property. Focus on the different types of shared ownership and what happens when co-owners disagree. Make sure you understand how the rights of co-owners work in practice, especially in cases of death or sale of the property. 9. Servitudes over property. Servitudes such as easements and profits can impact the use of property. This can be complex, but understanding them will set you apart in the exam. Study the different types of servitudes and how they are created, used, and enforced. Be clear on the difference between positive and negative servitudes and practice applying these concepts to case studies. 10. Priorities in registration. The priorities of competing property interests and the registration system are often tested. Study how the priority of claims works when more than one person has a legal interest in the same property. Understand how land registration systems in Canada establish priorities, and be ready to explain how conflicting claims are resolved. 11. Applying legal doctrines and policies to solve property problems. Finally, be prepared to apply all of these concepts to solve conflicting claims to property. The exam will test your ability to analyze, apply, and critically evaluate property law. Use practice questions to apply legal doctrines and policy considerations to hypothetical scenarios. Think critically about how policies inform the legal rules, and be ready to evaluate different possible solutions to property disputes. Now, general tips for the exam. 1. Synthesize the material. The exam tests your ability to synthesize the various doctrines, rules, and policies. It's not just about memorizing definitions, but about applying them. 2. Use past exams. Practice with past exams to familiarize yourself with the formats and test your application of legal principles. 3. Time management. Don't let any question stump you. Move on and come back to tough ones later. Manage your time wisely. Lastly, stay confident. You've studied hard and prepared well. Trust in your knowledge and approach the exam with confidence.